Hello everyone. I am a German teacher and I carry the reputation of quite a few Germans, which is that of being serious, strict, and profound. I like to study all fields of knowledge and then puzzling it all together in a map that connects everything I have examined. I kind of feel sorry for my students because sometimes I get carried away and I end up thinking that they will be just excited as I am. They call me Frau, and the nickname caught on. I chose this profession with one single determination: helping children enjoy learning and interacting with each other, while also creating a productive and loving community. I would gauge my success by looking for a sparkle in their eyes. I'm going to tell you the story of a group of students that made me evolve as a person and a professional, while trailblazing unusual paths to serve my German determination. It all happened last century, in 1987 to be precise. They were 10-year-olds. I felt very experienced because I had been successful with previous classes. But as Bill Gates points out, success is a lousy teacher. In my case, this was true. I became obsessed with repeating existing strategies and failed to see that those students were different people. Techniques that work in one specific context might be inefficient in another. And the sparkle of some experiences can make us blind. Every person is unique. Every class is unique. Just like each group of executives in a company is also unique. Building a humanized organization requires looking at each unique human being, instead of simply applying to our context management theories that have been successful elsewhere. Many clashes took place. I blame the school, its new guidelines and bureaucracies, and I also blame the kids for being immature. I almost gave up. The new teaching guidelines included a more demanding academic program. And here I see a resemblance with companies that are results-driven and do that without considering the importance of being people-driven, because results can only come through people. Without looking at people, listening to people, and taking care of people, results will never be sustainable. Lack of motivation and high turnover rates have a real impact on results. And the same thing happened in that classroom full of kids. Our daily time for conversation in a circle, or roda in Portuguese, was part of the previous formula for success. But the roda moment was not welcomed by the new school management, which allowed only 15 minutes a day for what seemed to be a waste of time. The results? Well, lack of interest and concentration, wasting time to make sure everyone was quiet. I put pressure on them, and they responded with immediate silence, a silence that lasted for a short period of time. I, in turn, reacted by increasing the pressure, and I must confess that every once in a while I even had to yell. Their fearful faces showed me how far away we were from the dream of seeing a sparkle in their eyes. That room would certainly not be rated a great place to learn. It was then that failure became a very good teacher. I decided to follow the steps of an anthropologist who uses a field journal to write down everything she sees, hears, and thinks about a remote group of people she's willing to explore and observe. So I wrote down in a journal everything I observed. Little by little, I began to connect the dots and find new paths that led me into an amazing journey. I learned much more than methods or techniques. That experience led to the Roda Registro methodology. I discovered so much about myself and expanded my soul. Those kids were my teachers. They taught me, yet again, how to play and enjoy. Games have a healing potential for people and for groups. The pandemic made this very clear. Formal meetings on traditional platforms make people feel tired and exposed. On the other hand, creating playful spaces that entice our imagination can transport us to other worlds and add a touch of lightness to meetings. In this setting, we can play and be serious at the same time. And this combination is even more powerful when we count on the partnership of those who play along. I realized that the teacher I saw described in my field journal, although attempting to be competent, was in fact overwhelming kids with jumbled content that did not connect to their lives. Added to her inclination to being serious, strict, and profound, this approach increased the distance between herself and the students, who loved to play football, to have fun, and to create role-playing games. As she read her own notes, it dawned on her. This is the key, and she decided to play the game. Sometimes she came up with an idea for a playful activity. Other times she joined whatever they were doing. But what really helped her was the substitute teacher that she invented. Without changing anything in her appearance, she adjusted only the speed of her walk and her gestures, with manners that suggested lack of experience and insecurity as a teacher. The sub started talking to the kids and revealed a secret from the head teacher, which supposedly the seasoned professional had shared with her when they carpooled together one day. And here's the secret. The head teacher didn't want to be the way she was, but she didn't know how to be different. Clueless about what to do to come closer to the students, the sub proposed a deal. She would give them the brigadeiros which she had stolen from the teacher's lounge, as long as the kids promised not to tell the head teacher. If she found out, she would never call the sub to replace her again. Let me just give you some context here. Birthday parties in Brazil always have brigadeiros, a very popular chocolate treat. And whenever there was a birthday party in a classroom, the leftover brigadeiros were served at the teacher's coffee break. The deal was made, and the brigadeiros were devoured. But the sub had to wrap up that vulnerable moment. She was terrified that the school manager might come into the classroom, having heard the noisy excitement of the children. She announced that the Frau was coming back and then ran out of the classroom. The students nicknamed the sub Cedibra. After her debut, whenever there was a birthday party in any given classroom, they asked in anticipation, "Is Cedibra coming today?" And when she did come, they would talk, play, and the atmosphere was completely different. The new atmosphere slowly began to positively contaminate their moments with Frau, the head teacher. Cedibra would share so many secrets, but Frau couldn't tell them that she knew all about it. She actually tried to do it once, in a Roda circle moment, but the wise kids rained on her parade. "You know nothing about Cedibra," they said, and changed the subject. Over time, the Roda conversation routine became increasingly important. The kids brought in texts, ideas, and committed to quickly perform their activities with no distraction. They wanted to have more time left to work on the Dracula project, a theater play they were writing during Portuguese language classes. The Roda moments taught them not only to listen, to speak, and to argue. They also brought the academic program to life. Inches and feet and calculations were used to build the furniture to Dracula's castle. Grammar and spelling helped writing and rewriting scenes in the play. Can you see the sparkle in their eyes now? And can you imagine the improvement in class productivity? At the end of the school year, they presented to the school manager an in-depth narrative of all the adventures they had gone through in the last months. Not only had they covered all the academic content, they had also engraved in their memories and in the records that they wrote the certainty that learning and interacting with each other are the most amazing human experiences. These stories were recorded by the students themselves and later by the 2 classroom teachers in academic papers and books. These books have been adopted by universities and helped professors from different generations to find new paths that work for every new group of students. 30 years later, those same kids sat in a Roda circle to talk once again, now as adults, and to share their life stories. They recounted the hard times and achievements they had experienced in the previous decades, as well as the memories that they bring from a shared childhood. In their 40s, and many with children of their own, they took part in the preparation for the 5th edition of the book Roda Registro. They gathered in a bookshop in the city of São Paulo, and some of them brought their own original records, now in aged and yellowed pieces of paper which still hold plenty of meaning and tenderness. And as you can imagine, the reunion could not have happened without the mandatory and delicious Brigadeiro candies.